30 Odd Minutes is sponsored in part by Digital Dowsing. Who are you powered by?
For the next 30 minutes, we will explore the unexplained. From mysteries beyond our galaxy to ghostly phenomena in our own backyard. We will dive into our psychic abilities and explore everything from conspiracies to the just plain weird. Welcome to 30 Odd Minutes. If the truth is out there, we will find it. But only by sheer accident.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Perfect.
Another good landing. Where'd we end up?
Ooh, we're in front of a circus.
Oh, gosh. Circuses. That takes me back. What is that? What do you think of when you think of circus?
Clowns?
Clowns, that's for sure. Ah! Oh, don't show us that. Eric, seriously. That's still freaky. That's freaky every time.
Yeah, every time.
I do think of clowns, but I also think of the sideshows.
Oh, yeah.
And today's circuses have lost their way. Carnivals, all of that, right?
Yeah, a little too modernized.
It's not like the old days where they had all these strange objects that made you wonder, sure, okay, a lot of them's fake or whatever, but some of them,
yeah.
you wonder. And could some of them be cursed?
It's a good question.
It is a good question. We're going to explore that tonight. I remember being at the P.T. Barnum exhibit at one point, and I saw the Fiji mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little kid.
Classic.
Little kid, and I saw this thing, and I remember thinking, are there really mermaids? There's a picture of it. And, of course, the original one went around from 1842 to 1860. P.T. Barnum, greatest show on earth. Of course, it was the torso of a juvenile monkey cut in half and sewn onto the body of a fish.
Taxidermy at its best.
Right, of course. But it made you wonder. It made you ask questions like, oh, mermaid legends, maybe there's something to it.
This could be proof of it.
And objects, of course. We know for a fact that when you believe in an object,
yes.
A rabbit's foot, lucky.
Yeah, right.
If you believe in it.
Right.
Unless you're the rabbit. Dr. Dreck, of course, he found an haunted object in his own house. Take a look.
Greetings, oddballs. Dr. Dreck here. We're talking about haunted objects. And yes, I have a haunted object right here. This is my late Uncle Silas's wallet. Now, I never liked him all that much, but I would visit him about once a year, and we'd go out, to the local restaurant and have a dinner, and that would be it, and then I'd wait another year. But here's how I know that this is his wallet. Now watch. Watch what happens when I say, check, please. See? Did you see that? It disappeared. It took off. Who knows where it is, but it always comes back. And that's exactly the way that Uncle Silas would act whenever he heard, check, please. He'd be gone. And who gets stuck with a check? Me. Oh, well, I'm glad he's gone anyway. But I still got to deal with his wallet. But at least the wallet doesn't need anything.
I love how it screeched just before it took off. That was great.
Yeah, you can almost see the tire marks. Thank you, Dr. Dreck. We're so glad you're locked safely down in the lab and only let you out once in a great while.
Yeah, our very own Dr. Carlo Lombardi.
He is. He's that. All right, who can forget those circus sideshow items of yesteryear? Some were just weird, but others made you wonder, could that be real? And what's the difference between unusual, cursed, and haunted? Tonight we're going to explore that very question with a collector of all things macabre and strange. He's a tattoo artist who started collecting sideshow art and history 7 years ago, which led him into collecting other occult items. Tonight he's here to share some of the stories behind his unique collection. Please welcome, beaming to the mothership live from Hartford, Connecticut, Calvin Von Crush.
Hey!
Welcome aboard.
Hey, gentlemen. Thank you for having me aboard.
Thank you, Calvin. First of all, Calvin, why should we believe anything you have to say? Because do you not have a forked tongue?
I do have a forked tongue. It lets me join House Slytherin and when I visited Hogwarts. So, yeah, check that out.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man, oh, man. Can we get a full
I
screen
think
of
you
that?
should believe everything I say because I am a skeptic. My house is full of various objects that people believe could be cursed or haunted or open a gateway to hell, and I sleep like a baby. So unless I'm scaring them out of here, there's got to be zero truth to all these stories that people are telling about them.
So here's the thing. When we talk about these objects, they're objects of intrigue for sure. There's a reason people collect them. There's a reason that we talk about them. There's a reason we're afraid of them. And we're going to talk about some of those things. I think one of the quintessential sideshow items is the shrunken head.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you sent us a picture of one of yours. There he is. Tell us the story of this beautiful little darling here.
This is a beloved member of my family. I'll bring him back on camera for you.
Sure.
Yeah. I've named him Uncle Nutty. And we'll get to reasons why we call him Uncle Nutty in a second. But this is not a traditional ceremonial shrunken head called a sansa. The people of the Javaro tribe would take heads of their enemies, and they would peel all the skin off of their skull, and they would boil it down and remove all the fats and oils, and essentially what you're left with is human leather. And they believed they had to do this ceremony to stop the spirit of their deceased enemy from avenging their death. Now this one, as you can see, it doesn't have any of the eyes sewn shut or the mouth sewn shut, anything like that. The traditional ceremonial ones would. What this is a tourist trade head. Now it is real human skin, but it was a head that was stolen from a morgue just for the sake of making money. So that's even more creepy than going out and killing an enemy. This is something that you set out to do. You went to go steal somebody's head just to make a buck.
Now, head shrinkers, what's the fascination with this? What was the? I mean, you said the idea was to keep their spirit from seeking revenge, but this is everywhere. I mean, these items are still sought after. Why the shrunken head?
I think it's still that mysteriousness to it. People are amazed that a human head can be brought down to the size of a baseball. The common misconception is that there's actually a skull inside of here too, and I think that's why a lot of people think it's so magical. It's really not. The skull's been thrown away or buried or whatever. It's really just human leather. I think it's cool, man. I walk by it every day, and I'm still amazed by it. I haven't gotten bored with it in 3 years. That's why people still want to see them,
So where does one go if they want to buy a shrunken head? Is it on eBay?
The process has been made illegal for quite some time now, but up until the 1950s, you could still go down there and you could purchase one for just a couple bucks. I think it was at one point it was $1 gold pound or something like that. Or you could just trade them a gun and they would give you a human shrunken head. Now they go up for several $1,000s, and auction houses are constantly trying to get them because there is such a demand. But as long as they're taken well care of and you handle them correctly, they can last for years and years and years.
I love it. When I go, Andrew, shrink my head. And keep it on your rear view.
Yeah, and it'll be there longer than the car, I guess.
I would love that. All right, let's talk about another item you brought for us here, cursed albatross bones. I think this is awesome.
Albatross.
Because there they are. Take a look. And so the story of the albatross is interesting to me because, if someone, it was a punishment. They would tie a dead albatross around your neck.
That's the expression.
Yeah, right, the albatross around your neck. And look at that. You've got the reflection of the show.
Yeah, this thing is huge. I mean, if you guys can take a look at that. Albatrosses have a huge wingspan. So I don't know if we have any good shots of it, but these are all handwritten accounts of how exactly these albatross bones ended up being put in the case. The story goes that the crew of a ship was fishing, literally fishing in the air for this albatross that was flying around. They ended up hooking it and dragging it down to the boat and killing it. The gentleman who writes the report, he was actually in the process of having it taxidermied in his cabin or whatever you call it on the boat. While he's doing this, there's another albatross that's flying around the boat, and they took it as a bad omen. Sailors back in the middle 1800s, they were very, very superstitious. I mean, you've heard probably Red Sky at Night, Sailor's Delight, Red Sky at Morning, Sailor Take One. I mean, those things were how they lived their life. Sure. So when they saw this albatross flying around, they really just weren't settled by it. So they stormed the cabin and made the guy throw the remains of the albatross overboard, and he was able to hide these two bones and then later write the details of it and put it in display. It's one of my most cherished relics.
And how did you come by it?
Oddly enough, I just came across it at a flea market. I had walked by it once and didn't think much of it, and it haunted me for a year. I'm like, man, I really should have grabbed that piece. So a year later, I ran into the same gentleman. I asked him if he had it. He said he didn't. He left it at home, but he can run home and get it, and I can get it the next day. So we agreed on a price, and I grabbed it.
So these kind of things. Now we've seen the show, Mike Zone's show. I forgot his show. I know Mike hung out.
Mike's on Oddities.
Yeah,
Mike actually helped buy the Shrunken Head. So
yeah, right. So I mean, obviously, there's a market for this. People love this. There's TV shows.
Yeah.
These items are all over. I'm sure eBay as well, not just flea markets. But what is it? What is it about an item that speaks to you, Calvin? What do you look at and you say, I got to have that? I mean, Albatross bones. That's totally random.
I think it's the same as any paranormal investigator. While you go out in the field, you want to see if it's real, and that's why I have all these items in my house. I want to give every chance possible to experience something paranormal, and thus far, nothing yet. So I don't know how I keep getting lucky and not getting the cursed items or the one Ouija board that opens the gateway to hell. As you can tell, there's a bunch behind me. I've got about 75 at this point, and nothing yet. If Satan ever shows up, though, I'm going to start charging them rent. This stuff gets expensive.
But wouldn't you agree, though, like sometimes things have to be believed to be seen?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think the human brain is the most powerful force in nature. It can make you believe anything. I mean, even look at that book that everybody just published, The Secret. It's all about the power of positivity and getting your mind focused. I very much believe that. So if somebody does buy an object that they believe is cursed, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're setting themselves up for failure.
Yeah, and I mean, Andrew, there's items that we've come across, people believed cursed items,
Right.
I mean, there was a TV show about it, Haunted Objects with John Zaffis.
Yeah, we had John Zaffis on our show, right?
Yeah, and some of those objects were not, I mean, okay, the Albatross bones, that's kind of cool. I could see not having trouble walking by that in a flea market. I would kind of want that myself. I get it. I really do, honestly.
Especially since it's already cased and framed and all that.
Totally. But some of the stuff is like just a mundane toy from like 1983, like a little plastic doll or something. But someone believes that this was this doll.
As soon as it came into their life, things got worse, yeah.
Right, and so the doll becomes the object of something bad. And that asks Zaffis, or people have given us stuff. I mean, I know I've been handed a Ouija board or two in my day.
Even Tim Weisberg and Chris Belzano, I believe, were given a doll, too.
Sure. Yeah, someone says, bad stuff's happened to me, you take it.
Take it.
You take it. Now, of course...
hey, funny you mentioned that. We have one of those right here.
What do we get? Oh, right.
Yep, so, you know who this is. I already told you. I've introduced you to him. This is Elliot.
Right.
Elliot was given to me by a very, very good friend. Someone who I don't believe would ever have a reason to lie to me in her life. We used to be roommates when I lived down in Florida. I got a frantic email one night asking if I would take this picture off of her hands. And me, of course, I want to tempt fate. I want to see if anything's really haunted or if it's going to go bump in the night. I agreed, and she sent it to me. The story goes, she walked into an antique shop, and she found this beautiful case photo. I believe it's something called a daguerreotype.
Sure.
And I guess normally they go for about $60 or so, but she got it for $20, which she thought was kind of weird. She's like, oh, why would this lady give me such a good deal? So that kind of sat in the back of her head, and she brought it home, and a bunch of weird stuff started happening. The dog wouldn't go near it. He'd always whimper when he saw it. She would set it up on a shelf, and all the other pictures would fall down, but this one would stay up. So she gave it away to a friend who lived locally. She goes, hey, why don't you guys have this? It'll look great in your new place. And a couple weeks later, she got a call from them, and they said that they wanted her to take the photo back. Once they got it to their house, it just didn't feel right to them, and it sat outside on the porch. She had never said anything about any of the things that were happening in her house. So this complete separate family was experiencing a weird vibe from it too. So they gave it back to her, and she had it sitting in a bowl on her desk. She left, and when she came back, it was outside of the bowl sitting flat on her desk, and apparently moved on its own. And that's when she made the decision to tell me that I had to take it. She informed her stepson that the picture was going to go, and that's when her stepson said, good, I won't miss Elliot at all.
Wow.
So how this young boy came up with this name for the gentleman in the picture, I have no way to confirm that's his name or anything like that. But she asked how he knew his name, and he clammed up. He was terrified to talk about it.
Now let me ask you, since you said you are a skeptic, but when you tell that story, though, you do seem to have some respect for what happened to the other people in their belief system. Do you think that quite possible? I don't believe.
I'm sorry, man.
No, I was just going to say, no, please continue.
Even though I believe in something, I still do know that it was terrifying to the people who experienced. Someone who believes that their kid is possessed, the tears that they're crying are real. It's nothing to mock people for. And it's very much like a religion. You can't judge somebody based on what they believe, just on how they treat the world around them. So even if someone does believe in ghosts, that's fine. I still want to be friends with you. I just want to know where you're coming from. So that's another reason why I've opened my home up to these objects. Is it helps me understand how the world works for other people. Reality is different for everybody.
Absolutely.
Do you think that some of these items, if they are haunted or possessed, may be terrified once they come to your house and see all these other items that they have to live with and they stay in line?
Some people have said that too, because I have some objects here that are occult objects, but they're beneficial. Right over my TV, I have a beautiful framed mummified cat. In some old occult practices, mummified cats were supposed to ward off evil.
Right.
So who's to say? Maybe the good stuff's working and it's scaring away all the evil. But
he's got just the right balance of good stuff and bad stuff.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Like you bring in just one too many, and like it's all going to fall apart. I love it. All right, hey, belief makes things real. We know that. We've talked about that before, and that weighs heavily on tonight's news segment.
Oh, yes.
Let's take a look. We'll be back right after the news.
On May 31st, 2014, the Waukesha, Wisconsin Police Department responded to a call involving an injured 12-year-old girl. When the police arrived at the scene, they found that the girl had been attacked in a nearby park and was stabbed 19 times. Police were then shocked when she told them who had tried to kill her. It was one of her best friends. The girl said that she had been playing a game of hide-and-go-seek in the park with two of her girlfriends when one of them tackled her to the ground and began stabbing her over and over again. Both of her friends had apparently planned the attack in the park after they had backed out of two earlier attempts. After the stabbing, the two girls coldly walked away and left their victim for dead. What makes this crime even more shocking was the girls' motive for the attempted murder. They did it for the Slender Man. The Slender Man they speak of is a fictional character that was created in 2009 by a writer who had entered a website contest to come up with a scary monster legend. Going by the name of Victor Surge, the writer then created a spooky picture showing the fictitious monster stalking children in a playground. Since then, the Slender Man legend has taken on a life of its own, with people blogging about their own alleged encounters with this dark tulpa. The 12-year-old attackers told police that they believed that the Slender Man was a real figure and that they needed to kill in order to join his ranks. I'm Andrew Lake, and oddly enough, that's the news.
This is a tragedy. This news
awful.
story. Slender Man. The crazy thing is, you can say like, "Oh no, it's got Egyptian origins, 5,000 years ago." No, you can go online and see the actual post right now, this instant, where it began. It's still up.
Yeah,
it's still up. And when you show that to people and say, "This is where it comes from," they don't even believe it. And it's gone mainstream. There's games. There's all kinds of things, and now people are getting hurt. Because of this thing.
Power of suggestion.
Calvin, did you hear about this news story before tonight?
Yes, and I have never been once mistaken to be the Slender Man, so that's a good thing. I think that's why skepticism is so important, even with paranormal investigation, is you do need someone with a level head who's going to step up and do the homework and see that not everything is what people believe it is. And for these poor girls to think that something made up on the internet was reality. It's what's going on, Where are the parents sitting down telling kids what's reality and what's not?
Right, and the thing about the internet, too, is that you're talking about a medium that, just a couple seconds of Googling.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, we'll answer
don't
everything.
Read the first thing, just dig a little, just 2 more minutes. It's not like it's in some library in Siberia, I mean, it's just a couple more, a little more digging. But anyway, speaking of mediums, you've got an object that's really intriguing. It's a plastic hand. We've got a photo of it here. Tell us about this.
It's actually not plastic. That's actually hand carved out of wood.
Oh, I'm sorry, a wooden hand. All right, take a. There it is. And what would this hand do?
This is an alleged spirit communication device. And I will show you guys how this works in just a second. This is a wrapping hand. It was made out of a workshop in California by Floyd Thayer's company, and he supplied to magicians. He had a catalog, and we do believe that some mediums may have purchased stuff from him too to further demonstrate their abilities. I'm going to tilt the computer screen down a little bit. Let's see if we can get a good shot of this. So generally, what we would do with this device, let me see if we can get this.
Pull it back a little bit toward you.
Yeah, more towards you.
Oh, man, this ain't going to work.
Yeah, that's all right. There it is.
Oh, there we go. All right, so let's see. If I hit this little button on the bottom, we can usually get it to pop up. Oh, there it goes.
How are you doing that?
It's magic, Jeff. That's how I'm doing it. I'm
amazing.
A wizard. I told you. I was part of House Slytherin. You know all my secrets now. But see, that's just it. In the hands of a magician, you readily accept it as magic. It's a trick. But if it's a medium holding it, oh my God, they really are talking to my dead uncle.
Yeah.
It's I guess.
So this isn't radically different than a Ouija board, right? I mean, and how many paranormal investigations have been on where the groups will say, like, knock on the wall 3 times, or the shave and a haircut knock, and you're waiting for the 2 knocks. So this device.
Yeah, and usually when you introduce the wrapping hand, you would say this is a device similar to the Ouija board. The Ouija board is so powerful in pop culture and in everybody's memories of being something so terrifying. As soon as you say it's like a Ouija board, boom, that's it. That was that one little suggestion that you needed to know that it's a reality. So,
but that's definitely handier than a Ouija board.
Oh,
handier.
It's terrible. So if we brought that to a paranormal event,
we should.
It would be superstar,
That'd be awesome.
And the funny thing is, you could show people the button, and they still would believe, no, it knew things about me. It knew.
Yeah, but the button's part of it, right?
The button's part of it, yeah. And that's the thing, because the power of belief turns that into reality for someone. And we need these things, right? We need the tangible evidence of our beliefs.
What's the difference between that and the Ovilus of today?
Nothing.
It's just, there's just no batteries in it.
Right. But this, like you said, like Calvin said, it was meant to be a magician's trick. And so I love it. I totally love it. All right, Ouija boards. Let's talk about one, because you sent us a photo here. This is a Ouija board, and there's been many. We've had Bob Murch on the show in the past, and we've looked at tons of these things. But this one is unique, and why is that, Calvin?
This is a very, very, very cool Ouija board. It came out of Branson, Missouri. We believe it's from the 1920s. It was used by a medium who didn't use a traditional planchette. That's the little thing that slides around the Ouija board. A lot of people just call it a pointer. Properly, it's called a planchette. But she used a rock. And if you put that picture back up, there's a close-up. You can see some of the really deep grooves on it. That must be from the rock actually scratching the surface.
Sure.
And there's a platform that's built right onto the bottom of it. I'll hold it up so you guys can see.
Yeah.
See, there you go. There's some cloth on the bottom and everything like that. I checked around to see if there was some kind of device or anything built in for fake communication, but it appears just to be decorative. We don't have many specimens that are built like this that have a stand on the bottom or anything. And I've never heard of another one being, controlled with a rock.
And the funny thing about the rock is it doesn't slide very well.
No.
I mean, that's these things have to have some functionality. In fact, I don't know, Calvin, have you seen the brand new version of Hasbro's Ouija board with the light-up planchette and the whole thing?
Yeah, that thing's a tank. It takes a while to get that thing moving.
Exactly. I remember seeing this is really poor design. Did someone not test this thing? Because when you take the boards that have been manufactured for the last many decades, you take the board in your hand, put the planchette on it, and just tilt it a little. It'll start to slide.
Yeah, right.
You take the new one, and it's got this finish on the board that's like sandpaper, and the thing is the planchette's heavy. You can almost hold it vertically, and it's still holding on. It doesn't slide very easily. And I was thinking, when you said this rock, like, how you're going to have, someone's got to push.
Yeah.
This is not felt or rollers. Someone's really got to push this thing. And so either you're really getting something truly profound if you're getting messages out there because it's a rock.
Right.
It's a heavy rock that doesn't glide well on wood, or someone's really pulling the wool over your eyes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You've got those two options. It's not always just black and white, one or the other. The medium genuinely believed that she had the ability to make this rock spell things out, or she was really pulling the strings and she was just selling the message that she wanted to sell. So that's where I kind of take the step back. A lot of skeptics just say every psychic out there is completely full of crap. They're all lying. They're just con men. I think there's just as many out there who think they really are communicating with the dead. And I think those are the ones that are way more interesting to talk to and see how they work. Sure. It's not just trying to make a buck. There's something inside of them that they really feel is empowering them to talk to dead people.
Now, the Ouija board, you touched on it earlier. This thing is a polarizing subject, let alone board.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got them on the wall behind you. Like you said, the portal to hell hasn't opened yet.
Yeah,
but,
it's literally tripping over them around here. I've ran out of wall space. They're starting to pile up. It's folk art, man. It's an American tradition. It's something that we've been dealing with for 125 years. When they first came out, they were a party game. It's Hollywood that's really taken it and bastardized it and made it an evil thing. That doesn't mean I think it's any less cool now that it's been made into an evil thing. I think that's something that we need. We need this. It's really our last folk tales that we have. People sitting around telling stories about how the Ouija board came to life at a slumber party. There's nothing else. Maybe Slender Man is the latest new thing that we've really come across that's really part of this oral tradition that people are still telling each other.
But the thing about Ouija boards is that it seems like almost everyone has a story. Everyone's got some kind of, we were using it and this happened and the lights went off. Or, or a car accident happened, whatever it is. Did you ever use one as a kid? What was that?
Oh, yeah, numerous times. I think that's one of the first few things that really got me into the paranormal was my family had ghost stories about Ouija boards. I think I received one in 1998 as a gift for Christmas.
Yeah.
Here, Merry Christmas, here's a gateway to hell. It's fun. All it is. That's the scary part about Ouija boards is they genuinely really do work. They do move on their own. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with ghosts or spirits or anything. It's the ideomotor effect. Most people have experienced that when they're driving home from work and they space out, and next thing you know, you're pulling in your driveway. It's kind of your body's unconscious reaction to doing something when you expect results. So when you are sitting there expecting Ouija board to move and it starts moving, the first thing you think of is ghosts. You don't think of your own brain empowering this thing. And that's why it makes it so terrifying to people, because it really is moving on their own. So.
But here's the thing, though. If someone believes to their core that they are communicating with a spirit, ideomotor response be damned. Like they're going to say, no, this is... And not only that, I've talked to people where their lives really have gone downhill because of this. Now, to that, I've seen it. It's become like an addiction.
Yeah.
Like any other addiction. I must use this thing. I must communicate.
Right.
And they do it more and more, and they start separating from real living. It's not that different. They treat people now for an addiction to online communities and chat rooms.
Yes.
Where you're living your life on the computer instead of out in the world. With humans, intermingling with humans. And so the thing is, this thing can suck people in because it's got such a powerful story behind it.
I have a special thing going on with another special person, and I must communicate. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that makes it into true reality for the person who goes through it. And I know there's people watching right now saying, Calvin, no, it's not an ideomotor response. It's Uncle Larry. It's the demon Zozo. It's whatever talking to me. And that's what intrigues us. So, geez, we're getting right up to the end of the time here. But all of these things, they speak to you in some way, Calvin. There's some kind of connection there between these objects and you because you keep buying them. I can see them all around you, behind you. Well, what is it that drives you to keep adding to your collection?
Oh, maybe it's a sickness. Maybe I need to go to one of those counselors for the online addiction or anything like that. I've never had anything negative happen because of anything I collect. If anything, it's just all positive. I'm constantly meeting new people. I'm getting to go on TV shows. I get so many doors open for me because of this stuff. Maybe that's why I keep doing it. I haven't had a bad experience yet.
Right. And
I want one. I want something to scare me.
Oh, careful what you wish for. Hey, we love the weird. The weird loves us, and these objects are a part of us. They're part of our subculture, a part of the fringe. But it's this place that you visit. It's this place you get to touch and you get to taste and you get to hold these things in your hand and say, "Whoa, the world is strange and getting stranger." Calvin Von Crush, thank you for joining us tonight on 30 Odd Minutes. We'll of course have links to your website from ours. And until next time, everybody out there, stay odd.